Hello, everybody. This is Max with AKA Science. Very excited today to bring you Class 1 of our Environmental Science Kit for 3rd through 5th grade students. It's all connected. We're going to be going over some things in this class that aren't going to be included in the subsequent videos. Set the tone, pair and share, clean up, and daily debrief are going to be things you're doing in just about every class we have. So these videos are going to focus primarily on the 3 activities unique to each class session. In addition to the activities, each class will have a unique group of key terms that are good to use during discussions with your students. For Class 1, our key terms are Anthropocene, Producer, Carnivore, Herbivore, Omnivore, Scavenger, Decomposer, and Habitat. The definitions for all these terms are included in your curriculum. I'm also going to be showing you each class kit broken down to all of its constituent parts, as well as showing which items are necessary for each activity. It's important to remember that the lab notebooks, pencils, markers, and crayons are going to be needed for just about every class, so go ahead and set those aside in an easily accessible place so that you'll be able to grab them quickly in the future. Now it's time to set the tone. First thing you're going to want to do is a thumb check. This helps you gauge how your students are feeling. Thumbs up for happy, excited, good. Thumbs down for sad, tired, hungry, whatever. Following that, encourage your students to get to know each other a little bit by playing a name game. For a comprehensive list of name games and icebreakers, check out our website, akascience.org. Now, we're going to spend a minute doing class agreements. It's important to set some basic rules for your students to follow, and it's equally important to have them come up with the rules themselves so that they're more inclined to take them seriously. For this activity, you'll need the markers, crayons, and big folded piece of butcher paper at the bottom of the box. Sorry, gotta clear off some space here. Have your students discuss amongst themselves a handful of rules that they can all get behind. Whoever in your group has the best handwriting, give that person a marker and have them start recording the rules that everyone has agreed on. Distribute some crayons and have everyone sign the agreement. This way, if anyone starts acting unruly, you can whip out the paper and remind them that they agreed with a signature to behave themselves. Next up, pair and share. Distribute your lab notebooks and pencils to each student. This is now their notebook. Have the students pair off and ask an open-ended question to help facilitate discussion. A few example questions are, what is science? Who is a scientist? Is science important? Remind them that in science, there are no bad questions. Next up,
The Fabulous Food Web.
For this one, you're going to need those name tags with all the nature things written on them, and that ball of yarn. Separate the name tags and distribute them amongst your students. Then have your students stand up and make a circle. Find the student with the sun tag and hand them the ball of yarn. Now ask your students, what eats sunlight? The answer in our activity being either the grass or the berry. Now have the sun toss the ball of yarn to either the grass or the berry. For our purposes, let's use the berry. Now we ask, what eats a berry? Maybe a beetle or a mouse. The beetle is in turn eaten by the fish or the frog, who is then eaten by the fox, who then dies and is consumed by the decomposing fungi, who returns the nutrients back into the soil for the plants to consume once again. Continue passing along the yarn ball until you have an intricate food web displayed for all of your students. Then have them discuss and make a few observations about what a food web is and how it works. After that, gather up the yarn and get ready for our next activity.
Bug hunt and habitat in a cup.
For this, you're going to need the little bundle of containers and lids, the spoons, the magnifying glasses, and that itty-bitty little bag with a push pin in it. I know you can't really see it in the picture in the video right now, but trust me, there's a push pin in there. Now separate the containers and distribute those and the spoons to all of your students. But hang on to the lids for right now, because we're going to take the push pin and punch air holes in the lids until you get something that looks like this. Now it's time to make our habitat. Tell your students to take their spoons and dig a few scoops of dirt into their container, followed by rocks, twigs, leaves, or anything else that might make your bug feel comfortable. Make sure they don't pack too much into the container. You need to make sure that you can still see the bug when it's inside and that your bug has enough room to move around. Now, it's time to find a bug. Ask your students where they have seen bugs in the past. This could be under something, like a log or a stepping stone, on something, like your fence or a garden plant, or in something, like an empty planter or empty bottle. Once you've found your bug, use the lid of the container or the spoon to gently guide your bug into the habitat and seal it up tight. Now, distribute the magnifying glasses and have your students record any observations they can make about the bug in their lab notebooks. Don't forget to release the bug when you're done, and get ready for our third activity,
Human Index.
For this, you'll need the worksheet from the envelope in your kit and the crayons. Have your students pick one color to color in 3 boxes on the grid. These boxes represent the population of our city. Now, have your students pick out a different color and color in 37 boxes in the grid. These boxes represent the resources the 3 boxes of humans require to live. Lastly, pick a third color and color in 1 box to represent the garbage that these people produce. Take a minute to have your students consider the 2 questions on the worksheet. Keeping these questions in mind, have your students continue coloring in the worksheet. There's no correct way to do this. You can put the squares just about anywhere you want, as long as the numbers are consistent. Have your students explain why they chose to put the various squares where they did on the grid, and discuss the nature of human impacts on the environment when building a city. With this last activity complete, we're ready to clean up and debrief. Get your students into the habit of cleaning up the space, as well as discussing any final observations they have from today's activities. And don't forget to send home the media consent forms and take-home advisory slips. And just like that, we're done. Thank you for joining me, and see you in Class 2.